My name is Christy Leos. I'm the Director of Operations for InternetBar.org Institute. We are here today to present JusticeHub.tools. Before we start, I wanted to thank everyone for joining us. I know we have a lot of legal aid lawyers who've signed up for our series this September, but we also have technologists and activists. So we just wanted to thank everyone for signing up at such a short notice. So before we dive into the more technical details of the walkthrough, I wanted to give Jeffrey Aresti, the president of IBO, a chance to talk a little bit about what Justice Hub is, and then possibly get a few words from Ed about what he sees as the need for this platform. So I will pass the baton.
Hi, everybody. This is Jeff Aresti, and hopefully I've been able to meet some of you. And Justice Hub was a virtual community that was put into the hands of New Mexico Legal Aid under a TIG grant, which Internet Bar was then contracted to assemble and put together. And it's really part of a broad set of opportunities to help change the business models for legal aid and its ability to share all kinds of tools that each of the individual legal aid offices are creating and using for themselves. And then in some instances, through various kinds of grants, been able to share across the country. But this is much more of a community and much more of a sharing community. And we really want to jumpstart the change by getting some of the leaders in the virtual community of legal aid to share their tools and actually think through how other organizations in legal aid can use them. So we've been asking Ed to reach out to those of you that might have tools to share so that we could get them up, jumpstart the growth of the community, really increase the pace of change. So Ed, would you like to just welcome everybody and tell them a little bit about your vision for Justice Hub?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Am I coming through on the microphone? I can't quite tell from the screen here.
Yes.
Well, welcome, everyone. As Jeff was saying, what we're trying to do is create a virtual space where people in the legal aid community and people in the tech community can get together and work on things that we need to have happen regardless of the distance. We started out doing these hackathons, which are wonderful and have sprung up around the country. But as much as I love Albuquerque, it's not always easy for people to physically get here. And so we started talking about, well, why can't we work with somebody in Portland or Columbus or New York or Florida or wherever they may be if they have the motivation and the skill to work with us. So this platform will help us create virtual workspaces where if we have an idea for something we need here in Albuquerque, we won't be limited to just who can show up for a physical hackathon to work on whatever the technology solution is. And we're hoping along the way that this will be one of the first places people will look to see what's already there and what they can do to build and expand on it to make it even better.
Thank you, Ed. So before we get into the walkthrough, I just wanted to mention that we'll be leaving the Q&A until the end. So if you could mute your microphone, that would be great. So let's start.
30 minutes.
Yeah, so this whole webinar will be about 30 minutes. And so you'll have about 10 to 15 for the Q&A. So as you can see, we are on the home page, which is fairly easy to navigate. We have the About, we have the Explore, where you can look at the community posts, which shows recent posts. We have topics that you can explore even though you aren't logged in. So you can look and see that people have been talking about DACA, they've been talking about helping Lone Star Legal Aid with the Harvey disaster relief. We've been looking at, basically people have been coming into JusticeHub.tools in the past 2 months and exploring what they can do with the site. And then, of course, we have all the resources, which is more along the lines of tools and things you can use to collaborate. So, and as you can see here, we have a button for starting a project and joining a project if you're ready to do so. And looking down at the footer, we have the forum, which is once again exploring the topics, tips and tricks. And tips and tricks is more of the beginnings of collaborating online, because we understand that different people are at different stages of collaborating online. And a lot of the people who've been to our hackathons have actually may not be very tech savvy. So we gave them a list of tools that they could use to start. And we didn't really want to recreate the wheel here, because some of these pieces of tech are pretty incredible. But we plan on expanding this area. And see. So we also have the search, which you can use obviously to look for different areas of content that you're interested in. And going over to the bottom right, we have the terms and conditions and community standards. So when it came to our community standards, and I'm not going to read this whole thing out loud, obviously, but our key points really were that attribution is important. So let's say a legal aid organization in Texas created a great solution, and they allowed for someone in Colorado to build a solution basically exactly like that. Well, it would be good to say, well, this is where this started in Texas. And so it creates a very fair open source system. The second was that JusticeHub.tools is committed to eliminating discrimination. So obviously you can't discriminate on the site. Violent content is allowed. So we know that in the justice area, there are various levels of interaction, and some can lean towards a more violent language. So that's the kind of content we wouldn't want to allow on the site. And then finally, of course, do not break the law. So, so there's that. And then we have the fact page, which is our help center. So here is basically the walkthrough I'm about to walk you through right now of creating your profile, creating topics and projects, and exploring the site. So we can get into that right now. Okay, so I'm going to log in the upper right-hand corner, and I created a temporary email address. So I'm going to take that right now. Okay. And password will be just 2. So I logged in. Let's see. Oh, I'm signing up. Okay, silly me. Okay. Let's do that. Okay, creating a new account. Okay, and so I'm going back to my makeshift email, and there you go. So I'm, of course, this would look different in a different email client, but I'm clicking on the reset link. Okay, so here I am in my account. Okay, and so what I'm going to do here is reset my password. Okay. And as you can see, you can adjust your email notifications. So if you want to know when someone's commenting, or if someone's replied to you or mentioned you, you can set this up. You can also connect into LinkedIn, and you can choose whether or not to show your email on your profile. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. Okay, great. So now I'm going to create my profile. So like many other pieces of technology, you would be including your first and last name, a profile image. You would also include what your function is at your organization, contact info if you wish to do so, details about what you do or what you want the community to know. And then we jump down into skills and desired positions on team. The skill set is so people can find each other to collaborate, because it can be incredibly difficult doing grassroots work, especially in the justice technology sector. And then the desired position on the team, really what we're emphasizing there is really not all people want to stay within their box. So, you know, we have legal aid lawyers and activists and technologists who may not want to give advice or write code. Instead, they want to be a beta user, or they would want to do copywriting. So, so really it gives people the flexibility to do what they want and what they're passionate about. So I'm going to go ahead and say I'm the manager of capitalism or capitalist, and I'm a technical writer. Okay, so this is what your profile would look like afterwards if I used an image too. So you can see right there. And in your profile, you can see a stream. And so if I want to post to the community or to the public, I can click either one. Okay. There you go. So you can see that there. It also has the list of topics that I can create. So if I wanted to create a topic, I would create topic on the right-hand side, and I could post a blog, a discussion, a news article, and this can also be either only community-based or public-based, depending on what you would want to do. So let's go back. I can also list out my projects right here. I haven't created one yet, so there wouldn't be one. And then the information page, which is information about yourself. So going up to the create button or the plus sign. So in the upper right-hand corner, if I click that, I see new topic, new resource, and new project. So as I just previously shown you, a new topic is you know, an article or a discussion. For a resource, you're really including tools and tools that people can use to collaborate. So you can easily fill in content here and create your own URLs. And then new project. So for the new project, there you go. Right now, it is a very basic project page. You can create a title, a description, include any links that you want. And it also has a project status of complete or on hold. I would like to mention that we are currently updating our features. And for this particular feature, we'd want to include a area for your problem, a location, roles and tasks needed, steps in development, and a percentage meter to measure completion. So that is a feature we'll be rolling out in the next month or so. And if you look at the top, there's a little symbol with 3 people. That is also another way to look at your list of projects. And to the right of that, we have the notification center. So right now, I do not have any notifications, but when you log in, you can take a look here and see who's been commenting on your work and who wants to connect with you. And to the right of that, you have a profile icon. So this is where you can edit your account, so password, security, etc. Your profile, where as you see, this is your profile, and you can see all of your work and content in one area. So we've walked through basically what you can do on Justice Hub. If you go to the homepage, though, you can see the community in action. So here you'll see a live stream going back a few months. And to the right, you see the newest topics posted by the community. Listed is a topic about Harvey, about Justice Hub, about Protect Me, which is a domestic violence tool, and there are plenty more. And below that, the newest projects have been posted, and below that, on the right-hand side, you'll see a members list. So you can see all of the members who have been signing up in the past couple of weeks. So now that we've been through the walkthrough for the platform, I would like to open up the webinar for questions.
Christy, this is Ed. I'll start. One of
Okay.
the things I keep thinking about this is, I'm not a techie. I try to pretend I know enough about tech, but every year it goes by I know less and less. But I do know what legal aid needs. So what I like about this tool is a legal aid person that just understands, well, for homeless advocacy project or for a veterans project, whatever it may be, we could go on here and say, here's what we need something to be able to do. Here's the features we want. Here's the steps we'd like the software or the app, whatever it is, to be able to do. And then the tech people can look at that and respond regardless of where they are in the country or the world. And you can get that conversation going here without having to get everybody together in the same place. Is that a fair way to describe it?
Yes, exactly. That's really the whole point of each of the features that we've laid out, especially the project profile. And we are definitely, I think one of the, I wouldn't say the hardest, but I guess one of the biggest challenges of creating Justice Hub was making it compatible for both legal aid and technologists and advocates and activists. So, you know, how can we build this in a way where if a legal aid lawyer who had no idea what this was came on and could use it, how could they use it to the best of their ability? And if a technologist came on here, how would they know where to look? As we go forward, we're looking at ways to best create our matching system and to make sure that if a tool is posted on here that, let's say New Mexico legal aid needs, if Colorado needs something similar, we wouldn't want them to rebuild that from scratch. We would simply want to have an open source collaboration and then build everything together.
This is Jeff. Just one thing to mention. When we were running the hackathons, it was always a challenge for us to know whether or not we'd have enough technologists or hackers to show up. And that would vary community by community. One of the opportunities we want to mention to the legal aid people here is that the legal hackers movement, which has been around now for, I don't know, about 3 or 4 years, we've been in touch with them. We've been talking with their founder and developers, and they've indicated that they're going to join in with us and start setting up accounts. This is just in the past couple of days. We finally, got word from them. We also know that because of the terrible climate problems we've been having here in Houston, and now that Florida is facing, that there is going to be a real push on legal aid to get a lot of things done, but that means a lot of technologists are showing up as well. So to the extent that we can start building our community here in this Justice Hub space, we'll at least start the beginnings of the sharing of the community that does exist. And we know that there are some people in legal aid that have developed some really exciting projects, and we'd love for them to be shown on legal aid so that even if they are utilized now in conjunction with the disaster relief issues that are going to arise, or whether they're there for the future once we move on, that this community will be able to organize, self-organize, and with Ed's guidance and with all of your leadership, legal aid will have a new way to begin to set an agenda that serves not only the clients of legal aid, but also serves to keep legal aid sustainable itself.
I think what we've learned from some of the local hackathons where people show up in person is that some of these technology folks and hackers, the more they get used to working with our community, the more they'll have their own ideas and they'll be able to offer suggestions here too that we haven't even thought of. I think that's going to be one of the great things this will do.
Next question.
This is Liz Keith with Pro Bono Net. Christy or Ed or Jeff, could you just recap the rollout timeline or plan for this? Is this something that's in soft launch mode now, and you anticipate doing a broader launch to the LSN tap list or the broader legal aid community?
Well,
I may have missed that. Sorry, I may have missed that at the beginning.
The soft launch was done at the end of June, and we're trying to get people to understand and take tours of it like we're doing this morning now, so we get more people knowing that it's there and knowing what the potential is. And we want to spread the word through any channels we can, LSN Tap, NOAD, MIE, anywhere we can get people to pay attention to it. And we're hoping that folks like all of you who are on this thing this morning, if you know of somebody working on a legal aid project in your neck of the woods or your sphere of influence, if you could get them to come in and join into this too and see if this is a good place to post what they're doing and get people to collaborate on what they're doing. Because the more we can get people to actually start posting the projects, even if it's a work in progress and not finished yet, but also ones that are finished that might lead to people saying, well, we could use that in another part of the country, or we could use that as a base to expand this new idea. The more we can get on here, the more traffic there is from all corners. I think the more it's going to be useful to all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And especially in light of the upcoming TIG meeting that'll take place in January, the more that we can get going between now and then, we know that there will be a logical interaction between what we're doing in Justice Hub and how it can positively impact and connect with the portal that is being worked on by LSC and Pro Bono Net and Microsoft. So, we see this as part of a overall community building effort to organize the legal aid folks to become active in sharing with each other, but especially in the next couple months. And we asked Ed to reach out to the leaders in the community in this last couple weeks so that we could share with you. First, we know that you can reach out to your network, and then once you start seeing how this looks, you can begin helping to guide and shape what you want to see, how this looks like. We've got it started, but for sure, we know that you may have great ideas that you want to share with us that we can begin to implement, not only from a tech side, but also from a community building side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is Jane from LSC. I missed the beginning of it, so I guess my one question might be to if you could take a couple minutes, go back to the beginning, just because of the issue with the free conference call. I came in about 10 minutes late, but a couple things on outreach ideas. We have LSC does like a occasional tech download newsletter, and our communications department's just starting to work on the next issue. So this could be, this might, since this just launched, I'll suggest to them that they kind of highlight this to help get the word out about it. So, and if so, who would be the best person for them to reach out to kind of get some more information about it? Would it be Christy or you, Jeff, or you, Ed, or all three?
Certainly all three. You can have them contact me first, and I can get the information and get Christy and Jeff and whoever else needs to be involved, Jane.
Okay, that'd be great. And my other question about outreach is, I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Slack channel that Nicole Braddock set up, the A2J Tech and Design collaborative Slack channel, because they have about 100 people on there, and it's a fairly active community that's doing, some of the same, it's kind of a little bit of the same purpose, where people are kind of putting up project concepts. What are you working on? If they have I'm doing this. Has anybody run into this type of thing, to kind of share information and practices. So, you know, I could post something on there, but that might be another good place for anybody involved here to get on that Slack channel to do some outreach as well.
Yeah, that would be excellent. I hadn't actually heard of that group, but we have been in contact with a few legal hacking communities and civic hacking communities. So there are ATX Hack for Change in Austin, Sketch City in Houston, legal hackers, you know, across the world. And then there's like Chicago or Shy Hack Night in Chicago. So all of these groups are very active. But I think a running problem that I've seen, and when I've spoken to a few people from those groups, is that everybody's really siloed out. And being able to collaborate effectively without it being confusing, and people, you know, copying or working on projects that they didn't know someone in Texas was working on, but in Chicago they really needed it. It's a bit of a problem. But no, that's excellent. Like I definitely want a link to that Slack.
Okay, I'll send you the. I think you just send in the request to Nicole, because I think she manages it. But I'll send that to all of you.
And that'll be great. And Nicole was one of the judges at our most recent hackathon. One of the things that I would just mention here is that an idea that was inspired by the TIG conference was that we'd run conferences in the field of online dispute resolution that go on annually. And then the real question is, how does the community function in between? And how does the community self-organize and set its agenda and try to operate outside of those silos as a community together? And one of the things that we talked about with Ed was, how could Justice Hub play that role? And what it really requires is for leaders in the legal aid community to decide that they have some ideas they want to step up and help guide and shape how the legal aid community wants to direct itself, especially in these times of great change for the community with all the issues that are out there. And certainly step one is to make sure that all the groups that are organizing, like Nicole's and the ones that Christy mentioned, all know that we're out there, and then we encourage them to participate with us in this.
Cool. Sounds great.
Hi.
Go ahead.
I was just wondering, it's maybe a more practical, detailed question about the site. Is it obvious where you can tell whether the project is completed or in beta or work in progress?
So if I was creating a new project, let's see, okay, there it goes. Right now, it is a simple post, and we're working this month, and we're hoping to roll it out by the 29th on a more detailed project portfolio.
Okay.
Definitely, one that's based on our hackathons that we've done before. So taking that process of the hackathon and moving it online was really the inspiration for this feature. For now, it's very simplified, though.
Okay, sorry, you showed that earlier. I'm sorry I missed it. And also, I was wondering if a project's completed, is it something that you're thinking anyone can take and use in their community? Is that the whole purpose of one of the goals of this?
Yeah. So
Okay.
what we took into account when we started discussing what did it really mean to bring open source to legal aid and justice projects, and there are a bunch of different camps. There are people who want to keep their technology private, and there are those who want it open to the world. And so we really encourage that technology is open source, that people attribute their work to others rather than recreating the wheel every single time for thousands and thousands of dollars. But we also understand there might be a mix of those things. So we do encourage people posting technology that is theirs or their companies or their organization, but to not feel as if they have to hide it from the world.
Right, and in some cases,
Okay.
we have found that people who have proprietary products are willing to share those products with legal aid users for free. So sometimes that is, it's good for them because they get users. It's good for legal aid if it's the right kind of a product that, or service that can be used. But again, some of these ideas and standards are ours initially from the beginning, but the community itself, as it organizes and decides to establish some governance mechanisms, is going to, revisit these issues and determine what is satisfactory for the community. So we've set some standards to start with, but they're not written in stone. They're written for the community to, as it organizes and builds its governance mechanism, to choose how it wants to operate going forward.
Okay, thanks, you guys.
Okay. So it looks like we went over by a little bit, but thank you for attending and offering up your questions. And if you have any remaining questions, feel free to email me or Ed or Jeff, and we'll get back to you.
Yeah, thanks everyone, but especially if you have ideas about who else we should send out this information to have them join in and take a look at the site. And if any of you have time to play around in the site of next week or two and give us your feedback about what you think we could make easier or better, or what you really like or what you have questions about. And if you yourself know of a project that should be on here and want either us to reach out to those people, or you want to forward the information to them yourself and see if they would be willing to use this platform to help develop their project, that'd be wonderful.